Hello everyone, and welcome back to Venue Diagram. I'm Clay, and our episode this week is Yankee Stadium here in New York City. So first thing here on Venue Diagram, let's talk about a little bit of the history of Yankee Stadium. And that history has to start with the original Yankees. Of course, the house that Ruth built, the original Yankee Stadium, is iconic, is a part of the identity of the city of New York and the team, and was one of the great baseball stadiums. But by 2004, when I moved to New York, it was already on its last legs. I went to some games there, and they were great experiences, including a playoff game where the Yankees played the Twins. Corey Hunter hit a home run in the ninth inning. The Yankees wound up winning in the 10th inning. We all left the stadium. I wasn't even a Yankees fan, but we all left the stadium just on this elated high. It was really, really fun. A lot of that just had that feel, that magical feel of the original Yankee Stadium. When they opened new Yankee Stadium in 2009, it did not have those things. People talked about this as the corporate behemoth. This stadium has no soul. And the team as this corporate behemoth, this team that has no soul. And I don't think that's a fair way to describe either the stadium or the team. The team, particularly this year, has a great core to it. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Garrett Cole. The way the team has been playing this year has been really fun to watch, and has a great cohesiveness to them. They have Jazz Chisholm now, who's really got like a fun energy to him as well. In any case, the Yankees and the team moved from original Yankee Stadium into this new field, into the new Yankee Stadium, which is just across the street, still in the Bronx, still in the same area as the original Yankee Stadium. You just cross across from Manhattan into the Bronx at 160th Street, and then you're there. One subway stop across from Manhattan into the Bronx, and you are at Yankee Stadium. It's the same place that it's always been, and probably always will be, even if they replace this one, which I'm sure they will at some point soon. 20 years down the road, they're going to replace this one too. This new Yankee Stadium had all of those issues and has all of that baggage to it. But it has been creating its own feel and creating its own sense of identity over the course of the last several years. And I have begun to enjoy my time there. However, we have to talk about what it is like for sensory issues. The second thing that I want to get into at Yankee Stadium is the sensory experience. And the sensory experience, the gluten-free food options, the sound, the crowds, and all of that stuff, well, it's a doozy, so let's go. Yankee Stadium does have a gluten-free section, but the gluten-free section at Yankee Stadium is hot dogs. Hot dogs on the gluten-free stand, which you can see here, are what's available. Now, there's multiple different hot dogs available, and they are on all of these sticks, and it doesn't work for someone who is also not a beef or pork eater. Once again, I have to say, please increase your options. You can go at Yankee Stadium into one of the many very fancy restaurants. If you have time to sit down and take your time and get your food and do all of that stuff, you can get a gluten-free meal at Yankee Stadium. But I want to go to the stadium for a game, particularly at this really fancy field, and you've got your really expensive seat, and I can't find gluten-free food available at Yankee Stadium when I just have hot dogs at this little stand. The other big sensory issue at Yankee Stadium is it has to be the absolute loudest field for baseball with fake pumped-in noise of any field in the entire country. When I went to a game last year, I had seats out here in the judges' chambers, as they're called. It was so bad that I nearly left after a few innings, because I had not yet discovered the eminent joy of the loops. The loops, once again, not a sponsor, but please, if you do have issues with sounds, particularly of background noise and loudness, things like baseball games, football games, stadiums, I definitely recommend these things. I can hear the people who are trying to talk to me. I can hear the public address announcer. I can hear the things that I want to hear, the crack of the bat, the rustle of the dirt, all of those things that you want to hear at a baseball game. And I don't hear the just screaming loudness of the fans around me, the fake crowd noise that is clearly fake, that is coming through the speakers that are all over the place, too many of them. This is just such a gigantic problem at Yankee Stadium. And I think part of it is because they have this really, really nice sound system, which is made more for concerts, I think, than for sports events. And so they have all of this really, really fancy stuff, and they have a DJ up in there who's really spinning the records, going crazy up in there and playing some loud nonsense. I'm sure people like it. I don't. In any case, with the loops, it wasn't as loud, it wasn't as harsh, it wasn't as difficult to get away from the other people, and it was much nicer as far as the sensory experience this year with these Yankees versus Braves games. So I'd say definitely, if you're going to Yankee Stadium, be aware of the lack of options for gluten-free food, unless you eat sausages, because there are plenty of sausages for you, and it is very, 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 very loud. The third section here on Venue Diagram is the event experience. So, I went to the entire Braves versus Yankees series, 3 games, and it was a great time as a Braves fan because the Braves did take 2 out of 3 in the series. It was a fun time, so here's some highlights from that. It was a good experience. The team was kind of coming back together, and these were 2 strong teams. The Braves could have had a better time getting things together this season. By the time of this Braves versus Yankees series, which was later in the year, the Braves season had started to go off the rails, but they did wind up making the playoffs. And the Yankees are still in the playoffs as of the recording of this video. Comment below if the Yankees are in the World Series or if they've been knocked out. Let us know. But it was really fun to watch this Yankees team in action. You had Aaron Judge, who's going to be the American League MVP. He hit a home run in this series. It was really fun. The Braves team, great pitching. We saw Max Fried again. It was a really fun time to watch these players. And as a baseball fan, these 2 great teams with this great history, it was a really exciting experience. And the best part of this, the part that I want to focus on in this event experience section of the video, is actually my favorite part about going to Yankee Stadium. And even though I consider new Yankee Stadium kind of fake Yankee Stadium, my favorite part about going to Yankee Stadium is to go to Monument Valley. Because when you see those monuments to the great Yankees hitters of the past and the great Yankees figures like Casey Stengel, Miller Huggins, the managers, even Steinbrenner, like all of those figures that have had such a great impact on the game, and they're out there just right beyond the center field wall, right on the field. In the original Yankee Stadium, it was on the field, right? These things were interacted with by the players in the original Yankee Stadium. And you can think about that, and there's an uninterrupted line of history of the game of baseball that goes through when you feel what's happening here, especially now with Yankee captain being Aaron Judge and being the center fielder for the Yankees. You know, there's something about that. There's something about that history. And so it was really nice to be able to see all these things. And of course, with all those championships and all of that history, there's just so much to see. There's so much about Yankee Stadium that you can't catch in just one day. So I definitely recommend, if you have the time and if you have the inclination as a baseball fan to come to New York, you should definitely head to Yankee Stadium at least once, despite the fact that it's really difficult for someone with sensory problems sometimes. And so, my big three and bottom three for Yankee Stadium. First, the bottom. And I know I'm going to be sounding like a broken record once again, but what can I say? It is what it is. The gluten-free options are very limited. Unlike a few of the other places that we have talked about, there are options. But cannot say that there are no options at Yankee Stadium. There definitely are options. You can reach out, you can find them, you can go to them. It's just, they're not easy options. They're not like Citi Field, where you can just go get those great chicken fingers. You can just go get that buffalo chicken wrap. Number two, and this is probably the biggest one, Yankee Stadium is too loud. It is very, very much too loud. It needs calm it down with a fake noise, please. And number three, the actual travel in and out of the stadium, if you try to take public transportation, is extremely crowded. So if you go to, once again, Citi Field, the 7 train is designed for going to the stadium, and once the game's let out, there's some extra trains. It's very far out there and very difficult to get there. It's very easy to get to Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium is very much in the city. You go across the river into the Bronx. The very first thing you hit is Yankee Stadium. It's right there. It's right off the train. It is very close to Manhattan. It's very easy to get to. Unfortunately, the subway stop is just a regular subway stop, and it is very insanely overcrowded and very difficult to deal with after the game. It was stressful. It was just lunacy trying to deal with it. So much so that I just started walking home after games instead of trying to deal with the subway station. My big three for Yankee Stadium. The great things about Yankee Stadium are, number one, the history of the team. The history of baseball, like it or not, does run kind of concurrently with the New York Yankees. New York, the Yankees, the identity, the brand, baseball itself is all tied up together with this team and with this understanding. And so you do get all of those things when you're at Yankee Stadium, and that is a fun thing to experience at least once. Number two, the new stadium may have some problems with sound, but it does not have problems with seats. The seats are very good as far as sightlines, as far as width of seat, as far as comfortability of seats. It's a very nice stadium as far as all of those things. And number three, it's very easy to get around the stadium. So the corridors are very wide. Everything is easy to get from place to place. You can go up and down the stadium very similarly to when I was in Toronto. There are parts of the stadium where it seems as though there are very few people there. Again, unlike some of the older stadiums where things are tight and crowded and all of that stuff, it's a very spacious place, at least in the upper parts of the stadium. Down on the main concourse, it's not the case. Down on the main concourse, the first level, I don't particularly love it. But the upper levels of the stadium are very nice. So, that is venue diagram of Yankee Stadium. And we thank you for joining. And please check out our other videos and talk about what you'd like to talk about below. Join us next time on Venue Diagram and keep on truck.